The right to life supersedes the right to education. That is what the Teachers Service Commission Chair Nancy Macharia told members of Parliament today when she appeared before them. That is among our top stories tonight on the 26th of February 2020. My name is Mnene. Our sign language interpreter at the bottom end of your screen is Joyce Warimu. But first, let's have a look at the headlines. Welcome to the program. We do apologize for that mix-up. Now, the Speaker of the Nairobi County Assembly, Beatrice Elachi, has welcomed the move by President Uhuru Kenyatta to have the national government take over key functions of the county government. Elachi, while addressing journalists at her office on Wednesday, said the move will rescue Nairobi from landing into a much deeper crisis that is in at the moment. Have a look.
The schools in most parts of the northeastern part of Kenya are still shut.
You know very well the minority whip has also a motion in terms of impeaching the governor. And so for me, when you look at the scenarios and the issues, this is one way of holding the county not to find itself in really a quagmire that would have found ourselves in regardless.
Elachi said the County Assembly has a very critical role to play in terms of the creation of a framework through the committee that will be formed by both the county and the national governments.
That when a government feels, one government of level feels that there are functions that are not functioning, you are, and that is what the drafters of the Constitution envisage. You will feel to return that function back either to the national government, or even the national government can give a county a function when they feel it becomes closer to the people to get those services.
Elachi's remarks came following the agreement between the devolution CS Eugene Wamalwa and Sonko to transfer a section of county services to the national government.
For me, I want to thank him because he did not just look at himself, but he has looked at the 6 million Nairobians who need services, and so he has felt these are the critical services. Why can't I hand them back to the national government? And when things become to normalcy to Nairobi, you have a right now to write to the national government to return back the functions.
The deal sealed at the State House on Tuesday, witnessed by the President and the Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka, means the government will be in charge of county health services, county transport services, county public works, utility and auxiliary services, and the county government planning and development.
You know, when you look at the appropriation bill that appropriates the finances, you know, people have not been asking themselves, so what would have happened? Or what is going to happen? Because don't forget, an impeachment is also a process within timelines and all that. So what would have happened, or what will happen? Because we have a supplementary bill that is supposed to be passed, and we have the new finances that were coming in, and we needed only the governor to sign to use that appropriation to sign the appropriation bill for us to get money to spend. So I think there the president also, whoever advised him, he looked at it and realized very soon we're going to have a lacuna. And so the key functions of health, transport will have been so much affected, and the other environment. So when he takes that, he has saved us also on that space.
Barely a day after this deal was sealed, we took to the streets and spoke to some Nairobians, and here is what they had to say.
Kwa hivi sasa venye yeye ameondolea hata wale wako chini yake ama na national government, wenda mambo na ufisadi sasa itapungua juu wale wako chini ama wale wengine wako kwa government wakisomea county ya Nairobi pia watakuwa na huo uoga, so mambo na corruption tena haitakuwepo.
Juu yeye ako na case na hakuna mtu, so akaona kuwajibika ni kuacha kupeana hiyo wajibu zote alikuwa anatekeleza juu hakuna mwingine anaweza fanya.
Sisi kama Nairobians tuna hisi ya kwamba kuna tatizo fulani ambayo lazima itatuliwe.
Pia ni mbaya. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu sasa tutakaa bila governor. Sasa hii nchi itakaje?
Busara Naman for Ebru TV.
Now, the move by the national government to take charge of Nairobi County could be impeded after a resident in Nairobi County moved to court challenging the move. This even as the Anti-Corruption Court dismissed Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko's application to stop his prosecution in the 357 million shillings graft case.
Nairobi resident Robin Karani has moved to court challenging decision by Governor Mike Sonko to transfer some county function to national government. Karani maintains that the public was not involved in the decision-making. The new arrangements immediately sparked debate among legal scholars who questioned the move by the controversial governor, going to bed with the national government at a time of raging concerns that devolution is under threat. The arrangement has divided opinion shapers in the country over the whole arrangement. According to Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., Nairobi County government ceased to exist the moment Mike Sonko surrendered the county government keys to the national government, sentiments shared by other leaders.
What we saw happening yesterday in State House was necessitated by loopholes and failures by the county government of Nairobi to operate as a strong county. It is our capital. So when my colleague Senator Sonko did not appoint deputy governor, when my colleagues Governor Sonko went ahead and fired his county secretary, you know, now to outsider, Nairobi haina deputy governor, haina county secretary, haina chief of staff, haina vitu zingine kama hizo. Watu wanaona there is no leadership, there is a vacuum. Mheshimiwa Sonko had no alternative but to give basically leadership of governance of Nairobi to the national government.
The national government, therefore, will take over the following functions of Nairobi County government to ensure Nairobi residents receive services efficiently. Some have even gone further to term the move as unconstitutional. Sonko, who is out on bond, is barred by the court from setting foot in office until his case is heard and determined, even though he has been making changes to his cabinet, among other executive orders. A supremacy battle has since been brewing in the county, with numerous reports indicating that Speaker Beatrice Elachi has expressed interest to take charge of the county whose reputation was in the verge of being tainted.
Those MCS. It is for them now to think very quickly on their feet to find a way out of the quagmire. That today, if the central government moves with speed and takes over the county government in complete totality, then the county assembly will be dissolved and they will go home.
Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko has until next week Tuesday to defend himself against accusations leveled against him in an impeachment motion tabled by Makogeni Ward Representative Peter Imotok. Nairobi Speaker Beatrice Elachi has asked Governor to submit written replies to allegations raised in the motion. The Speaker directed the county clerk to ensure his response is served to all members of the county assembly. The move has left more questions than answers, as the government maintains that nothing changes, that Nairobi is still a county and that Sonko is still the governor of the county. Abdiaziz Alshimi, Brew TV.
Now, the Ministry of Education has urged northeastern leaders to round up more than 24,000 candidates with C-plane grades from the region to enroll for education courses in order to supplement shortage of teachers in the region. Appearing before the Education Committee's Education Cabinet Secretary George Magoha told the members of Parliament that as a government they will not allow non-local teachers deployed in the region to be mercilessly butchered. Our reporter Jeff Haemba with more details on that.
Schools in most parts of the northeastern part of Kenya are still shut down even as the government remains non-committal to deploy non-local teachers in the region. Members of the parliament from the region, through the Wajir Member of Parliament Ahmed Kolosh, had petitioned the parliament to invite the education stakeholders to explain and, if possible, tackle the crisis, which has persisted for long.
The killing of non-local teachers by the terror group remains unresolved, and we continue to lose teachers. Life is sacrosanct and supersedes all other Chapter 4, all other rights under Chapter 4 of the Constitution, and that's what we were told by the court.
Appearing before the Parliamentary Education Committee, Teachers Service Commission TSC Nancy Macharia and the Education Cabinet Secretary George Magoha gave a deaf ear to the plea by the northeastern leaders to return the non-local teachers in the region whose colleagues were butchered over insecurity claim to be perpetuated by the Al-Shabaab militants.
Public outcry or support should not be the primary consideration. The recurrent loss of lives, agitation and demonstration by the non-local teachers will be solved in a sustainable manner as opposed to the past. It seems the militia know where these teachers are. Doesn't matter whether they are hiding. They tell us, I'm just quoting what they put on paper, that even when they go to sleep out in the forest, because sometimes they are forced to do that, they are followed there. The militia has the precise information on these non-local teachers.
About 2,300 non-local teachers have been transferred from the northern part of Kenya, leaving the region deserted, with only 600 non-local teachers who cannot gobble up the huge number of the learners. Education Cabinet Secretary George Magoha has proposed to round up the student with the C-plane grades in the region to enroll for the education courses at least to help their brothers and sisters to learn.
I am thoroughly entitled to give you an opinion. Which is okay. But if you don't want me to give it, it's also fair enough. No. We have a total of 24,058 ladies and gentlemen from Wajir, Garissa and Mandera who got C-plane, that all the energetic members from the northern region should identify some of these students to be quickly trained so that they can be posted there in the medium term. I rest my case.
Some of the members of the parliament proposed teachers who hail from the region and are teaching in other parts of the country to be taken back in the region.
And Chair, here we are saying that when we look back at our decisions where we force some of the teachers, it's coming back to haunt us. Some of the teachers whom we posted back have come back, as we are told by the communities, they have come back in boxes because we coerced them as a commission.
During the committee session, it was established that the region has about 150 qualified and trained teachers, but they have never applied for the teaching post. A move TSC says has created a big gap of the teachers and the students' teaching ratio.
Local teachers, Garissa, Wajir, Mandera, before transfer.
A learning crisis in the region persists, even as the court halted TSC from transferring the non-local teachers from Garissa, Mandera and Wajir counties. Reporting for Ebro TV, I'm Jeff Khaemba.
A post-mortem conducted on Sergeant Kipyegon Kene's body has revealed that he died of a single gunshot wound on the chin that exited through his head. According to a report released by the government pathologist Johansen Odwor and overseen by 3 family doctors, the body had also begun to decompose by the time it was discovered.
The death of Sergeant Kipyegon Kene will still remain to be an unsolved puzzle, even after the autopsy results that were released today at the Chiromo Funeral Home. Government pathologist Johansen Odwor, in his report, revealed that besides the postmortem results revealing that Kene died from a single gunshot wound that went through his chin and exited through his head, his body had begun to decompose before being discovered. The report says Kene could have died 1 or 2 days before his body was found at his Imaradaima home apartment. In attendance was also an independent pathologist hired by the family and DCI detectives.
Kene died because of a single contact gunshot on the wound, which entered the body through the chin and exited on the forehead. So it means that the gun was in contact with the skin of the chin, yes. We've taken samples for toxicological analysis. We've taken also swabs from the hands and where we saw the injuries for any soot from the firearm, yes, which are going to be analyzed.
The government pathologist further revealed that it remains unclear whether the sergeant's death was murder or suicide.
What we are yet to establish is whether it was suicide or homicide. And being that there are so many other investigations which are going on to establish that, we've taken samples so that now we'll be able to make our opinion over that.
The team says they will visit the scene of crime Thursday to conclude on the finer details. The government pathologist has also stated that hand and swab injury samples have since been taken for soot as well as toxic analysis. The gun that killed Mnene is reported to have been found right under his chin. One of the puzzling loopholes in the death of Mnene are claims that no blood stains were found in his apartment when his body was discovered. Mnene was among the officers assigned to man Deputy President William Ruto's office. His death adds a twist to the 40 billion shillings fake arms deal case involving former Sports Cabinet Secretary Rashid Echesa and 3 other suspects. As investigations into the death of the sergeant continue, the possibility of an intruder at Mnene's house prior to his death and a suicide note alleged to be written by Mnene are among some of the leads that add more mystery to the sergeant's death. Dana Rachel Mbogwa, Ibru TV.
Now, the ODM party says it will not refrain from attending BBI meetings across the country despite opposition from a section of leaders and even Kenyans over comments largely seen as tribal made during the rallies. On the contrary, ODM says the rhetoric spewed in these rallies is good for the country.
The clamour surrounding the BBI rallies and the entire process has now made its way before the steering committee.
The attendance of these rallies is voluntary, and those who feel uncomfortable publicly giving views in front of their own people are more than welcome to pursue this other option.
With the Raila Odinga-led ODM party now saying they will keep on attending the rallies, stating that they are complementing the work of the task force.
It was agreed at Bomas to take the BBI report to the people, and few will dispute that indeed the rallies have been a good opportunity for Kenyans at the grassroots to be heard. Let them talk. This is the time for Kenyans to talk. We have come to realization that something went wrong as a country, and we want to come back to the right track. We can only come back to the right track if we retrace our steps back.
Party supremacy also playing out today with the Orange Party hitting back at the National Assembly Majority Leader Aden Duale, who called out ODM for attending the rallies for failing in his mandate in Parliament.
When we see people who are in a position to table these reports before the House, they come here and they say implement the TGRC, and yet it was his responsibility as a leader of government business in the House to table these reports.
The ODM party also making far-reaching recommendations, including in the security sector,
creating county police to address local security concerns and answerable to the county policing authority chaired by county governors, to delink DCI from the National Police Service and create it as an independent security agency to be renamed as Bureau of Criminal Investigations or National Criminal Investigation Services, with mandates similar to FBI and New Scotland Yard.
And even the death sentence for anybody caught manipulating elections.
Make manipulation of elections at all levels treasonable, Mr. Chairman. Let those who manipulate election be charged with treason and sentenced accordingly.
It was an almost all-party affair today.
And so we propose that a constitutional amendment bill should be ready by May this year to guide civic education based on specific issues and proposals.
As the Maendeleo Chap party also presented their recommendations before the steering committee.
Na ni kama sukari, unakunywa kijiko moja ama mbili ni sawa. Ukiweka 5 kwa chai moja ama 6, 7 inakuwa inakuumiza. So that's a problem. Sukari imekuwa nyingi kwa representation. Tupunguze ndio tuenjoy hiyo chai ya representation.
The Alfred Mutua-led party rekindled the debate about the abolishment of the Senate and also called for the scrapping off of nominated spots for MCAs.
We are proposing the reduction of legislative positions in the National Assembly and devolved assemblies by abolishing the Senate. Also, we get rid of nominated members of county assembly positions so that we have 1,450 MCAs instead of the close to 2,300.
Mutua and party also pointing an accusing finger at the judiciary for taking too long to dispense justice in graft cases.
Such that from the day the person takes a plea, within 1 calendar year, story yake imeisha, amerudi kazini nyumbani, ama anakula maharagwe kamite.
The BBI steering committee continues with its sittings, even as the political angle will wage on this Saturday with the next BBI rally in Meru County.
Let's stay on the BBI. The Deputy President, William Ruto, maintains that the Building Bridges initiative rallies held in various parts of the country are being used to propagate hate and ethnic profiling. The Deputy President says the BBI rally that took place in Narok on Saturday was used to spread hatred and fear, vowing that he will not be blackmailed or threatened to attend the rallies.
Deputy President William Ruto has urged leaders to stop seeking political popularity through incitement.
Serikali ya Kenya haitaruhusu mtu yeyote kuchochea vita ama ugomvi ama chuki katika taifa letu la Kenya, kwa sababu Kenya ni nchi ambayo inafuata sheria, na sheria inasemekana ni msumeno, inakata ikienda mbele, inakata ikirudi nyuma. Kwa hivyo kila mtu ajichunge, kwa sababu tunataka kuishi mahali ambapo kuna amani.
He said some leaders were planning to hijack the Building Bridges initiative and use it to divide Kenyans.
So any leader who is going to build their leadership on the basis of dividing people and causing bloodshed and destruction of property must know that their leadership is cast and they will not go very far. Kwa hivyo Jubilee haiwezi kuvunjwa na bulldozer, kwa sababu tuliunda na maombi. Tia wasiwasi eti ya kwamba kuna bulldozer, sijui bulldozer ya kufanya nini, ati itakuja ivunje chama inayoongozwa na Uhuru Kenyatta na mimi niko hapo. Kwani mnafikiri tutakuwa tunaangalia wapi mpaka mtu ati bulldozer akuja avunje hao?
Dr. Ruto said the ongoing deliberations on BBI should be conducted in a manner that they do not breed division and hatred.
Hii weekend wanatukaribisha huko Meru. Na sisi kama wabunge ambao mlichagua, tumekuwa na mkutano tukatengeneza ile maneno tunataka sisi kwa BBI. Kuna kundi lingine la matapeli, wale mabrokers, ambao kazi yake kila serikali wao ndio broker. So tukasema sisi tuko na memorandum yetu ambao tutapeleka huko.
This comes at the backdrop of leaders early to him vowed to conduct their own rallies, saying the one spearheaded by ODM leader Raila Odinga has hijacked the sole purpose of the report.
Wanapeleka watu wengine hivi na hivi, ati sasa hao ndio wangwana, ndio wanakubalika, ndio ati sasa ndio wenyewe.
The contents within BBI are good. Na hata nyinyi mnajua, mtu akiamuka kwenda sokoni kununua matunda, ukaenda ukute mwenda wazimu huko kwa soko, utaacha kununua? Because every market has a madman.
Kwa sababu hiyo wimbo mtaimba ndio tuliimba tukapata hii serikali. Ama sina mna hiyo. Kwa hivyo tuache kusunguzana mambo mengi.
Hii mambo ya BBI ilikuja na giza mingi. Na sisi tukasema kuna mtu amejificha na ako na mpango ndani. Lakini hiyo mpango ilipanguliwa kule Narok.
ODM leader Raila Odinga is set to host a BBI rally in Meru this weekend to drum up support for the said report. Reporting for Ebro TV, I'm Kaindo Stefano.
The government has rolled out countrywide public participation forums with the aim of getting public views on Huduma number. A representative from the Interior Ministry, Moffat Kangi, notes that the process will enable the government to deliver its services to Kenyans.
The public have been therefore called upon to submit their oral presentation as well as a memorandum to ensure that the view of the majority is captured in the new law before they are sent to Parliament for approval.
The exercise ran for 52 days and was an epic success. At its closure, 37,724,521 Kenyans and foreign nationals' personal data was digitally captured locally.
Data released by a cabinet subcommittee overseeing the exercise launched by President Uhuru Kenyatta on April 2nd indicated the number of persons registered was 35 million people across the country under the National Integration Identity Management System, popularly known as Huduma number.
And a judgment issued on 30th of January this year that allowed us to continue with the project, which basically entails establishment of a national integrated identity management systems, NIMS, issuance of a unique identifier number referred to as Huduma number, and issuance of an identity card named as Huduma Card.
The Interior Ministry has acknowledged that the legal battles have derailed the process, but with last week's ruling, they are seeking their inputs on how to make the relevant laws better for its operation.
Today presents us with a golden opportunity to scrutinize the regulations, get any clarifications about them, and above all, submit any issues that you would like considered before we submit them to the National Assembly.
A three-judge bench, Pauline Nyamwea, Mumbi Ngugi and Weldon Koril last week ruled that there was a public participation before the program was rolled out, said the state is at liberty to proceed with the NIMS process and use the data collected according to law. The judges, however, noted that the collection of DNA information and GPS coordinates was intrusive and unnecessary, therefore unlawful.
This continuation was, however, with some conditions imposed on government, such as coming up with the regulations to guide on data privacy and security, and also management of NIMS, amongst others. In compliance with the judgment of the three-judge bench, the government has developed Registration of Persons Act.
The mass registration targeted 40 million Kenyans on the system. The 7.5 billion project was among the government's drive, which opposition leaders rallied behind. The government last week said those who missed out on the registration last year will be listed in the second round of the exercise, with those who were listed last year will finally get an identification number and card in phase 2 of the multi-billion shilling exercise. Abdezizar Shemebru TV.
Now, the British American Tobacco has rubbished claims that the company is organizing competitions to lure the youth to use tobacco products. This is after an anti-tobacco lobby group petitioned the government to take action against the company, which they claimed is flouting regulations and promoting its products. The Kenya Tobacco Control Alliance further said that BAT was organizing competitions among the youth in educational institutions in a move aimed at recruiting more tobacco users. However, BAT in a rejoinder rubbished the claims, saying that the Battle of Minds competition was BAT Group's global internship competition designed to offer graduates an opportunity to gain real practical work experience. BAT said that its aim was to strengthen the company's talent pool and develop the next generation of leaders. The company reiterated that the program was conducted in a transparent and responsible manner and in accordance with all applicable rules on tobacco advertising and promotion. Now, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has donated 1 billion shillings to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization to support the fight against the desert locust in East Africa. The locust infestation in East Africa has been posing a significant threat to food production and livelihoods in the region.
Countries meant to benefit from the donation include Kenya, Ethiopia and Somalia. In Kenya, the locusts have invaded more than 20 counties, which include Isiolo, Meru, Embu, Kitui, Samburu, Nyeri and Kisumu, among others, with the latest invasion being in Western Kenya. The donation by the foundation was received by FAO Director General Ku Dongyu. The locusts have been threatening East Africa's food supply, which is the Rift Valley, just before the arrival of the critical long rain season, which usually begin in March. A swarm of locusts covering just 1 square kilometer can quickly destroy food crops capable of feeding 35,000 people for a year. According to FAO, Djibouti and Eritrea are also affected, and swarms have also spread to South Sudan and the northern boundaries of Uganda and Tanzania, and as far as the southwest coast of Iran. Through its urgent fundraising, FAO has now raised its appeal to 13.9 billion shillings from the initial 7.6 billion shillings a month ago in order to assist the affected countries. FAO has so far received 3 billion shillings. Reporting for Ebru Business, I'm Kaindo Stefano.
Well, you're watching Ebru Primetime News. Time now for a very short break. Remember, we do value your feedback and opinion about these broadcasts and any other broadcasts on Ebru Television. 40920 is our SMS line. Let's do some business. A multi-sectoral approach is needed to deliver toilets for 5.6 million urban poor Kenyans by 2030, according to stakeholders. A spike in population growth poses a threat to improving sanitation and socio-economic status of livelihoods in the country's informal settlements, requiring more dynamic interventions. Have a look.
The country's target to be open defecation-free by 2030 could be missed by far. And according to experts, if the current strategies, policies and mindsets will not be reviewed to match dynamic shifts in population growth, and especially in rural-urban migration, then the targets will be missed.
This area has a population of about 110,000 people, and they only have 633 toilets. That means a ratio of 1 to 110 people per toilet. Recommendation global standards is 1 to 20. So it's a huge disparity.
Statistics collected from the current water and sanitation program do not make the situation better, with estimates revealing that Kenya loses 27 billion annually due to poor sanitation. A grimmer picture is painted by a 2019 UNICEF report indicating that the country is still far from meeting its target, with 5.6 million people lacking access to toilets. Data from the World Health Organization and UNICEF further shows that only 29% of Kenyans have access to improved sanitation, with about 30 million Kenyans left to use unhygienic pit latrines, polythene bags also known as flying toilets, or discharging into nearby open storm drains.
World Bank and Water Sanitation Program estimate poor sanitation in Kenya costs the economy about 27 billion shillings.
Stakeholders have now partnered with Nairobi County health officials on community education around sanitation practices. The main objective is to target to educate up to 500,000 Kenyans on the benefits of sanitation.
There's over 5 million people who don't have access to any sort of toilet, so it's open defecation, and there's about 30%, just under 30%, who don't have access to safe toilets. And that's not good. In this day and age, we would expect that number to be a lot less as we continue to develop.
Slums have been the hardest hit and are most susceptible to disease-related hazards and environmental pollution.
The burden needs to be shared across. We can't just put it solely on the government because the financial investment will be huge. Yet there's expertise in NGOs as well as private sector who can all come to the table to help. We would look to get this year at least 500,000 people on one-to-one education, like going around doors in households in the less developed parts of the country and Nairobi in particular, educating on good sanitation practices.
For Hebrew News, I'm Musa Amir.
Kenya Power and Lighting Company has posted 92% reduced profits for the year ended December 31st, 2019 during the release of its unaudited trading results. Have a look.
KPLC, however, has registered a 17.8% increase in revenue during the period under review. The net earnings for the year stood at 334 million shillings, a drop from 4.96 billion shillings recorded in 2018. The drop in the net earnings for the year 2019 has been attributed to the increase in non-fuel power purchase costs by 18.083 billion shillings from 52.795 billion shillings in 2018 to 70.978 billion shillings in 2019. KPLC Secretary Imelda Busire said the review from electricity sales grew by 16.994 billion shillings from 95.435 billion shillings the previous year to 112.429 billion shillings. She added that the rise was attributed to a tariff review at the beginning of the year prior to the subsequent tariff harmonization that lower rates for small commercial customers and broadened lifeline tariffs for domestic customers. According to the Energy Regulatory Commission, over 3.6 million Kenya Power customers who consume less than 10 units per billing cycle now pay 36 and 82% less for electricity, as the regulator also announced the removal of 150 shilling standing charge in 2018. Kenya Power's finance costs rose by 46.4% to 3.267 billion shillings due to increased levels of short-term borrowing to bridge cash flow shortfalls and foreign exchange losses. As a result, its income after tax was 262 million shillings compared to 3.268 billion shillings the previous year, after taking into account a tax charge of 72 million shillings. The government of Kenya has 50.1% stake in Kenya Power. Other major shareholders include Africa Opportunity Partners Limited, 1.23%, Jubilee Holding Limited, 1.04%, among others. Reporting for Ebro Business, I'm Kaindo Stefano.
Now, the Ministry of Tourism has confirmed that there are low numbers of tourists from December last year following the corona scare from China that has now become a global crisis. Tourism CS Najib Balala says that most of the countries that have in the past flocked the country as tourists have forgone their holiday trips. Our reporter Milia Kisienya with more.
Following the global crisis of the corona scare, the tourism sector continues to record losses in different countries, with Kenya now joining the list. Addressing the crisis was Tourism CS Najib Balala, who confirmed that so far the numbers from the lead markets that flock the country's beaches and best tourist destination has gone down, as majority of the tourists are now foregoing the travels.
Now with the coronavirus, it's going to be very challenging to do anything in China, and we are monitoring the situation in China. But we are monitoring the situation globally, because also the coronavirus in Italy has a direct effect to us. And remember, we have Kenya Airways directly to Rome. We have 3 other charters coming into Mombasa from Italy. So we are monitoring. We have strengthened our health services in Mombasa Airport.
Balala was addressing this as he officially confirmed of Kenyans' participation in Berlin for the international travel event that will see several countries attend to it. Most airlines globally are expected to also highlight the losses encountered with the coronavirus scare that have seen most of them suspend travel flights to China, which globally has at least 200 million tourists traveling across the world.
Airlines have lost almost $30 billion because some of the airlines globally have grounded the routes to China. So China affects the world, particularly in terms of travel. Remember, China have almost 200 million people traveling out of China to the international world.
Regarding to emancipating tourists back to the country, following last year's impressive increase of a 50% increase of tourists coming into the country compared to 2011, Balala has assured of having the respective mechanism of curbing the corona scare into the country, especially at the airports such as JKA and the Mombasa International Airport. Milia Kisenya for Ebro TV.
Now, the Kenya Revenue Authority is set to collect revenue from City Hall, following the handing over of critical services of the Nairobi City County Government to the national government.
According to a special Gazette notice detailing how the transfer was executed, KRA will be the principal revenue collector in the capital city, taking charge of parking fees, business licenses, land lease fees, and buildings approval charges. Notice, which makes public the deed of transfer signed by Nairobi County Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko and Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa, states that the agreement, which was signed at State House Nairobi and witnessed by President Uhuru Kenyatta, Senate Speaker Ken Lusaka, gives the national government the responsibility of collecting and remitting all revenues occurring from the transferred function. It will come into effect in 21 days from the date of the execution. County government workers will also be seconded to the national government in the new arrangement. The agreement signed by Sonko and Devolution CS Eugene Wamalwa on Tuesday in concurrence with President Uhuru Kenyatta will be subjected to public participation. The County Public Service Board and the Public Service Commission are expected to formulate the necessary instruments to facilitate the deployment. The County Assembly will also formally receive the deed of transfer of function as per the Intergovernmental Relation Act for purposes of approval. City Hall will now be run using from either the Consolidated Fund or the County Revenue Fund or both. However, the focus will be on how the county's resources can be utilized to help in execution of the transferred faction. The national government will, in consultation with the county government, set the spending caps for the same. This will mean that the national government will collect parking fees among other levies that transport operators are charged. Uhuru's administration took over the functions following concerns that City Hall had internal constraint which hindered it from operating effectively.
A Nairobi High Court has allowed Kenya Revenue Authority to collect withholding taxes from shipping lines on container charges. The withholding tax from different shipping lines amounts to over 2 billion shillings.
Justice Francis Tuyot of Milimani Law Courts Commercial and Admiralty Division ruled in favor of KRA in the judgment of a consolidated tax appeal case filed by 7 shipping lines operating in Kenya, protesting taxation of income on demurrage charges. The shipping lines wanted the court to make a finding that demurrage charges are not subject to tax in Kenya. Demurrage fee is the charge levied by shipping companies on importers for holding the container beyond the free period. The shipping lines in the appeal from the Tax Appeals Tribunal argued that the demurrage consists of part of the amount received on account of the carriage of goods and is therefore part of the cost of carriage. KRA, on the other hand, held the view that demurrage charges do not form part of the freight levied by shipping lines, as demurrage could only be accrued after the goods have been cleared through the customs and have entered the country. Justice Tuyot eventually found in favor of the shipping lines with regard to the value-added taxes on processing fees. He held that fees associated with loading, unloading and handling charges do not escape taxation because they have been included in the cost of freight and therefore taxed under Paragraph 9, Section 2 of the East African Community Customs and Management Act, 2014. For Ebru News, I'm Musa Amir.
Kenya has finally taken over from Uganda the top leadership of the Regional Maritime Agency, the Intergovernmental Standing Committee on Shipping. This brings to an end the tenure of Ugandan Kasim Paata, who has been on acting capacity as the organization's Secretary General for more than 2 years.
Communication after the 6th meeting of the East Coast Assembly of Ministers held at Malaika Beach Resort in Mwanza, Tanzania. Kenya Transport, Roads and Infrastructure Cabinet Secretary James Macharia was elected chairman of the organization. Daniel Kiange, a former Kentrade manager, becomes the new Secretary General. In March last year, the organization placed an advert in the local dailies asking those interested in the Secretary General position to submit their applications, CVs and all other requirements to the Principal Secretary, State Department for Shipping and Maritime Affairs in Nairobi. Kiange will now head the organization whose top leadership is held on rotational basis among its member states. Uganda had taken over the leadership from Tanzania. The East Coast Program Manager in charge of shipping, ports and freight services, Aderi Kagenzi, said the meeting took place in November. During the assembly, the members also urged the Secretariat to continue pursuing plans to join membership of other eligible member states. The statement said the assembly also approved the Coordination Committee's proposal to invite ministers from Eastern, Central and Southern region non-member states to subsequent meeting as observers. The meeting also called for more research in tandem with increasing adoption of technology and digitization in the maritime sector.
Just what is Harambee Stars coach Francis Kimanzi up to? I'll tell you that after this short break. Let's get sporty. Harambee Stars coach Francis Kimanzi has scheduled 3 open camps for local-based players on 2nd to 3rd March 2020 and 9th to 10th March and 16th to 17th March this year. This is ahead of the upcoming 2021 AFCON qualifiers against Comoros, set to be played on March 25th this year and March 29th this year away. The coach is expected to name his provisional squad for the back-to-back qualifiers this week. Kenya is in Group G of the qualification tournament alongside Egypt, Togo and the Comoros Islands. The team currently sits second on the standings with 2 points off 1-1 draws against Egypt and Togo. Up next will be a match pitting Harambee Stars and Egypt to be played between June 5th to June 9th this year. The top 2 teams from each group will gain automatic qualification to the Africa Cup of Nations Games set to be played in Cameroon in January 2021. Muthaiga Golf Club's Greg Snow shot an impressive round of 68 on the last day of the final leg of the 2019-2020 season of the Safari Golf Tour Series at the current country club to emerge winner of the tournament with a total score of 4 under par to 80. He started off the round with a bogey at the par 4 first before hauling consecutive birdies at the par 3 second, the par 4 third and the par 3 fourth holes before hauling another birdie at the par 5 sixth to card a front 9 score of 32. At the same time, Thika Golf Club Simon Gige shot an impressive round of 2 under par 69 to take his total for the tournament to 1 over par 285, seeing him clinch second place and banking 300,000 shillings.
No, it was a good start. Got off to a quick start. Made a few birdies on the first 4 holes, which is not very easy on this golf course. Very, very hard holes. But in terms of that, that gave me some momentum going into the round. I played solid golf today, despite the last couple of holes. But in terms of that, I'm pleased with my performance. Looking forward to a couple of weeks' time now, the big event. But it's a good way to finish the season on a high. And I look forward to...
Still in golf, as 2020 Captain's Prize Golf Tournament set to kick off this weekend, Ruiru Golf Club has invested over 30 million shillings in a new irrigation system that will rejuvenate the greens and fairways as the club targets to host major events. Golfers will be yearning for the new playing experience 18-hole course in the Captain Prize. The comprehensive irrigation system will see an increase in sprinklers and better playing conditions at the golf club throughout the year. The huge upgrade for the club will be crucial in all parts of the golf course greens and tees. Golfers will enjoy a better blend from the fairway to approach the putting surface once the new irrigation system effect takes place.
This club, when it's written, you'll feature prominently because of the role you played in driving this project. I must say the project has been a source of pain for most of us who had the opportunity to implement it. The pain has continued up to this morning. We had to make sure that some of these things are working. But because we chose to be there to implement the project, we are proud to have been there, and we will continue pushing to make sure that everything is done up to the expectations of the member of this